Let me take this opportunity first to send out condolences on behalf of the Ministry of Romi, and I believe extension the government also, but I know the Prime Minister will elaborate a bit more. Condolences to the family and friends for Toncha Bonkampa. His mom passed away. So again, our heartfelt condolences to the entire family and the whole department, from the ministry, from the staff, and everyone. We are saying God's strength and hope all goes well during this time. Again, condolences to Toncha Bonkampa, Maria Bonkampa, and his whole entire family on the passing of his mom. Well, just a few updates again concerning the St. Peter's Road. It's being worked on. I know the traffic is blocked off. People are complaining why it is taking so long, or why must it be blocked off so long. I had a discussion with Kurt Rohan and also the contractor, Mr. Ricky Van Putten, and they wanted to do it in phases. And my thing was, do it one time, get it done, get it complete, and it's over with. So instead of blocking off the road for 2 days, 3 days, and then opening the road and then blocking it off at night again for another day, I said, no, take the whole week. You know, I would ask the people of St. Peter's and the whole surrounding area to bear with us, or bear with you during this time, and take the whole week and get it done, and get it done properly, so we know we wouldn't have to go back there again and have to block off the road, open the road, and dig up the road. So that's the issue with it, and it's being worked on. If you pass there, you'll see them working diligently round the clock on the road in St. Peter's. So that's the update with it. The material reached, the pipes reach, and they are putting it in right now. It was a difficult job for them to do because they had to do some rerouting, and everything is up to par right now as we speak. I don't know, I think I've become the CEO of GEBE because the number of calls that I've received. I even had someone said, oh, when the Prime Minister said this is unacceptable, you can't have people going to the Christmas with a garbage situation like that. You jumped on it one time, it was taken care of, but we ain't hearing nothing. I guess the Prime Minister got to call you and tell you, I don't have no current. So what are you going to do about it? And I told the person, listen, I am in the same position that you're in. I have no electricity myself. I was sleeping in the vehicle, the mosquitoes, it was hot. So I understand the concerns of St. Martin. I'm waiting on an update from GEBE concerning the outages, because yes, they did promise when the new engine go online, you know, we wouldn't have the constant outages again. But I want to sort of calm the trepidations and the fears of the residents, because they feel as if we are going to have another October, another November situation where it was going every day in certain areas for a number of hours. I don't think that's the case. I think it's a simple ticket, not simple, but I think it's just a matter of getting things online, getting things par, and then it will be worked on. I spoke to Iris, and she said that she will update me. We'll get the information, and soon as I get it, I will let everyone know, whether it's in the newspaper or probably next week in another press briefing. But as it is right now, I'm not up to date with what is happening at GEBE concerning the outages with electricity. I must say that I'm much more pleased with garbage collection in certain districts. I'm still hoping that Middle Region would speed up and come on par a little bit more with their collection. I haven't had the opportunity yet to speak to the hauler in that area to really find out what is happening. But again, you want to give everyone a chance. So I know Middle Region because I've received a few calls also about that area. And I will have a discussion with the hauler and ask him, what's the concerns about it. But when you have the go-to person who really knows the ins and outs concerning garbage and is in the situation right now dealing, which is Mr. Boncampo, you have to sort of give him a time to heal and deal with the situation that he's having right now. So I will ask for some time to deal with that issue. On Friday last, the staff of Romy, we went to the dump to take a real good look at the situation at hand. And I make mention that everyone who probably went through Hurricane Lewis, how devastating it was. If anything's supposed to happen, or to happen, which God forbid, and we don't want ever to happen, but it's a serious situation that need to be tackled. And I believe that this government is committed in dealing with this issue, which is our landfill. It is a serious situation, and I would continue to mention it because we need to reach to a stage where, one, and I mentioned it before, the way we dispose of our garbage cannot continue that way anymore. It simply cannot. The simple manner of throwing your plastic, throwing your paper, throwing your refuse in the same bin is not going to work anymore. We had a long discussion with some interesting individuals who's talking about a MRF system. I also had a discussion with the son of the Prime Minister, Mr. Unde Marlin, when he came with the idea on how we are going to separate garbage. We also have a local businessman who is ready, willing, and up, and who can go in a couple of months in terms of having garbage to his facility, hiring individuals to separate garbage. But again, I'm asking every household to do their part, because we need to be conscious about it. And this is an avenue that we are looking into, which will bail the garbage and have it in time for moving forward with waste to energy. I believe waste to energy is definitely the way to go, but there are many other ideas out there. But like I make mention right now, on the island, as it is right now, there's a local businessman with a facility where we can start in a couple of months, whether it's 2 or 3 months, start separating garbage. And that's one of the avenues we are really, really looking into, and we're going to move forward with that. So those are a few updates. And again, our condolences to the family and friends of Toncha Boncampo. And yeah, thank you all very much. Have a nice day.
I have just a couple brief statements to make. I just returned from a very brief trip to Curacao last week. I took the opportunity to meet with the new Minister of Health, Environment and Nature, Minister Jesus Lito. And the purpose of the meeting was a very simple meeting. We've had a good working relationship that we've developed between St. Martin, Aruba, and Curacao. I wanted to make sure that while the minister was developing her plans for her term in office, to make sure that cooperation between St. Martin and Curacao remained a priority. Based on our conversations, certainly that is the plan. In areas, in particular, vector control, things like sharing resources in terms of how we're dealing with Zika. It's very interesting. When I attended a conference in Bonaire in October, it was interesting. They hadn't had rain in Bonaire for months, and actually the time that we were there, it was raining. And yet Bonaire has a Zika problem. Bonaire does have mosquitoes, and it made me really think about, if they don't have any rainwater, they don't really have cisterns because there's not much rain there, and they still have a mosquito problem. It just really does show how daunting a task it is if we really want to control vectors in St. Martin, where we're blessed with lush landscaping because of the rainfall. We really do need to have the public fully engaged in the process. Combining resources in terms of purchasing abroad, this would mean perhaps medical referrals, trying to lump our purchases together to try and negotiate better pricing. Sharing information on national health insurance. Curacao has implemented a number of things. Some things It's always good to learn from each other, see what's been done well, see what their problems were, and make sure that we learn from our neighbors' lessons. In particular, prescription drug costs. There was an interesting article in the newspaper recently, and it's also a focus of the ministry, has been a focus already. How do we bring down the cost for prescription drugs? Also a discussion about the hospital. Curaçao, as you know, is building a new hospital. And interesting, I mean, I have some preliminary information, even with their cost overruns, which are caused by moving their location multiple times, delays. Their preliminary numbers are still showing that the price that we've received for the proposed hospital in St. Martin is very competitive. So we're doing more and more of our research to make sure that the appeal process and the comfort level there is there for government and for the citizens, that the project is the right project and properly funded. I'd like to take a moment to commend SZV on their improved performance regarding collections. I think you've taken note that they've raised 28 million guilders over what their projected amounts for collection were. And this is very much the fruit of the labors that we've been working on. Improving compliance has been a priority in the last year, and I believe I could safely say on behalf of the Council of Ministers is a key focal point going forward for this government. We've already had in Council of Ministers a number of discussions about how between the different ministries we need to cooperate in terms of sharing information and also in terms of how we improve compliance overall. Compliance with the law should be the path of least resistance, and non-compliance must have consequences. If we want to live in a society that is sustainable, this is a fundamental principle that needs to be enshrined in everything that we do. And again, as government, this is a priority going forward. We've already had good Council of Ministers discussions about how we're going to synchronize our efforts across ministries. And again, a reminder, next week, the entire week, is going to be National Health Insurance Conference Week. Our facilitator, Professor Van de Ven, is coming in from Holland. He arrives on Sunday. And from the time he touches ground to the time he leaves, we are going to be withdrawing as much information as we can from his experiences and lessons learned. We have a number of meetings set up with Council of Ministers to inform them as to what the progress is on national health insurance, Parliament, number of higher councils of state, the civil service in terms of how it's organized, what the potential impacts would be. And this will culminate with a 2-day stakeholder sessions on Thursday and Friday of next week. Invitations, unfortunately, have gone out rather late, but we do anticipate a good attendance.
First of all, I'd like to say that based on the situation that the Leonard Connor School has been experiencing, many have been following in the media, Facebook and so forth, that situation which led to the school being dispersed at the end of the year, November to be specific, has not been resolved as yet. As such, a meeting will be held this afternoon with the school's management and staff to update them on the way forward. Once that meeting is completed, a press release will then be disseminated to the press, informing as well to the general public as to where we are exactly in the process and how we foresee us moving forward. The ministry remains very, very concerned about education in general, but also public health in that general area, and as such, we are collaborating, and in our discussions in the Council of Ministers, I've received confirmation from my colleague ministers that this is also a priority for them, and that all levels of the ministry we will be dealing with this issue. Also, an announcement that is quite interesting, upcoming, a positive one for the Division Education in Innovations, as the project management team are hosting in collaboration with the Youth Department and I Am King, the I Am King program. It's a male empowerment program which will be hosting a panel discussion which will be held on January 28, 2017 at the Phillipsburg Cultural Center from 7 to 9 p.m. It's entitled Man to Man, Straight Talk, and No Holds Barred Conversation. We believe that as a ministry, in our efforts to empower men and to raise up our men in the society, that this type of discussion is necessary and needed. And as such, 2 panels will be leading the discussion. The 2 themes are Manhood 101, which will be looking at what it means to be a man, and the second one, the role of a man, which will be focused on fatherhood and relationships. I believe this is a wonderful opportunity for men of all cross-sections of our community to come together, have fruitful discussions with our youngsters and a panel of older men as well. The event is totally free, hosted by the ministry, and the general public, especially men, are invited and encouraged to come out and participate in this very vital discussion. So that's Saturday, January 28th at the Phillipsburg Cultural Center from 7 to 9 p.m. Another project that has been initiated in 2016 is the iStep project, which I should remind you is a project aimed at improving and bringing more ICT into the classrooms. They will be launching their Facebook page today as soon as this broadcast is over. It's called iStep St. Martin, SXM. This will be one of the portals through which the general public will be able to remain informed and aware of the progress of this project. Also, a reminder from the iStep team is that the logo competition is still ongoing. It is open now for all because we saw that there was more interest from the older children. And so all primary and secondary students who have shown an interest have until the end of this month, January 31st, to submit their competition logo. The winner will receive an iPad, and the school will receive an IT prize as well. So that's very going towards the innovations and education here on St. Martin. Also would like to extend my condolences to the family of the late Miss Jane Boncampo Harms, officially Jacinta, but we all know her in St. Martin as Miss Jane Boncampo Harms. She started out as a teacher at what is now called the Sundial School, was also a principal at that school, as well as headed the inspection of the Windward Islands before in the early years. After retirement, she also served as the principal of the St. Dominic High School and remains an icon in education for St. Martin. So we in the Ministry of Education also extend our condolences to the family, bereaved friends, as well as former colleagues who are left to mourn. Much strength is wished for you during this time. Another short announcement, the ministry will be having an early closing tomorrow, Thursday, January 19th at 4 p.m. So the general public is made aware that office hours will be closed as of 4 p.m. tomorrow evening. Regular hours will resume on Friday morning at the usual time. Thank you for your attention.
2017 public holiday schedule. Good Friday, Friday, April 14. Easter Sunday, Sunday, April 16. Easter Monday, Monday, April 17. King's Day, Thursday, April 27. Labor Day, Monday, May 1st. Carnival Day, Tuesday, May 2nd. Ascension Day, Thursday, May 25th. Whit Sunday, Sunday, June 4th. Emancipation Day, Saturday, July 1st. Constitution Day, Monday, October 9th. St. Martin's Day, Saturday, November 11th. Christmas Day, Monday, December 25th. Boxing Day, Tuesday, December 26th. And New Year's Day, Monday, January 1st, 2018. The 2017 public holiday schedule can also be viewed on the official website of the Government of St. Martin, www.stmartingov.org.
If you're just joining us, you're viewing the Council of Ministers press briefing for today, January 18th, 2017. I'd like to open the floor for questions the media might have, keeping in mind the Minister of Justice has an appointment at 11 o'clock that he needs to take, so he's here to take any questions the media might have, so try to use that opportunity to take advantage of his presence while he's here. Bibi Hart Shaw, SMN News Online, good morning, you have the floor.
Good morning, Cedric. Good morning, ministers. My question I'll direct first and foremost to the Minister of Romy. Minister Emmanuel. Minister Emmanuel, you gave us a brief introduction into the constant outages, and you said that you did not have an update, so I'll skip that question. But in fact, there is a lot of turmoil on social media regarding these power outages. My other question, my real question to you now, Minister, just recently, GEBE Management Board, they renewed the contract for a consultant, Mr. Curtis Haynes, to the tune of $30,000 or guilders, whatever. Can you tell me what does Mr. Curtis Haynes consult on? And are you aware of the renewal of this contract?
Thank you very much for your question. Ms. Shaw, no, I'm not aware of the renewal of the contract, and I don't know what it is he consults on, but I think that's a question you'll probably have to direct to the management board of GEBE. I'm not familiar with the individual, Mr. Haynes, and what is it he does at GEBE at all, but it is something that I can look into and get the necessary information to the questions that you ask.
As per your meeting on Friday, based on information I received, I understand that you were basically misled, given wrong information until at least one member of the board came clean and said, no, this is what we're doing. How do you feel when you go into a meeting with both supervisory and management board and they're basically lying to you, and then finally somebody break the silence?
Well, you'll have to tell me what it is they lied about. It was more of an introductory meeting, introducing the minister to the management board and the supervisory board of GEBE, and also the staff, and what priorities and concerns the institution GEBE has. I don't know what you're talking about in terms of being misled. That you'll have to brief me with. I don't know.
I'll do that in a private one-on-one now, Minister Emmanuel, and thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much, Ms. Shaw. Andrew Dick, Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Yes, morning, Minister Boseman. Concerning the appointment of Regina Labega to the Economic Affairs Department, any additional information? You said that you was going to give additional information today.
Welcome everyone, and my apologies for having to leave soon, but you do not keep the governor waiting, so that is also allow me, since I didn't make an opening statement, to also extend my condolences to the Bancampa family. My dear friends Tonche, Maria, and the remaining family with the passing of Tonche's mother, Mrs. Jane Bancampa. To answer your question, I informed on that situation, and indeed Ms. Labega is employed at the, re-employed in the government at the Ministry of TIAT, directly with the Secretary General. The situation was that she was on a leave of absence, and as such could have returned to government. Besides that, the details, she is employed as a policy advisor. I'd like to say a note on that. Civil servants, while often under, and rightfully so, under higher scrutiny by the public because of the nature of their work, are also human beings, and have also have their rights. I believe that in the case of Ms. Labega, we are talking about an investigation that started some 6 years ago. Okay, and for those 6 years, persons' lives have been turned inside out, and I still want to believe in the how should I say it, the premise and the fact that one is innocent until proven guilty. And oftentimes situations like these and please don't misconstrue me. I'm not getting into the nature or anything of the investigation. That's not my responsibility. But I'm giving an opinion that sometimes during a process of an investigation, persons investigated, lives are being turned upside down. And sometimes during that process, they pay more than maybe the verdict that they would have gotten. I refer to a particular case, a similar case in the same investigation, where a civil servant received, I think, a verdict of 1 day. But the suffering during that particular period, in my opinion, has been much worse than that 1 day if they had to serve that 1 day. And I'm sure maybe the judge took that whole process into consideration. So the other issue with these type of cases is that people's name are often used, and I'm sure I might get a similar question about the prison. So let me anticipate that and throw that out. The regulation says that a person who is subject to, a civil servant who is subject to an investigation can be suspended. It doesn't say is suspended. Yes, there's a part in the law that says a person is suspended, but that is when that person is taken into custody during the investigation. As far as I know, the director of the prison is not taken into custody, and to be able to determine whether or not that person should be suspended, all of the facts has to be weighed against each other.